No, I haven't got one yet. His ankle's been bothering him a little each day, so it looked like he kind of did the same thing, just got stepped on a little bit. But no one ran up to me right away, so I feel pretty optimistic about it. But I'll find out more when I get back in.
There was a stretch there where CJ really looked to find a rhythm coming off of, especially off play action. Where would you say his development has been as far as learning the system?
He's still working through it. Still in the process of trying to get better each day. I think. CJ's done a good job since he's been here. He's attacked it as hard as he can. I thought he got a good grasp of the offense throughout OTAs. Some days are better than others, just like all guys. But there's a few times I did think he got in the rhythm today, and hopefully he can continue going forward.
Kyle, I think it was on reporting day you said after 10 days you would take the time to kind of reevaluate, reassess things. I think yesterday was practice 10. Did you indeed do that? And what have you seen so far in terms of your kind of overall assessments?
Yeah, it's more we had a big personnel meeting last night, things like that. Once you've gone through about 10 days of practice, you've seen more. You've seen guys come out fresh. You've seen them get sore. You've seen guys try to recover. You've seen guys in pads enough. So it's been nice to be able to talk through the players and some of our roster and depth charts, and especially going into these preseason games, really needing a plan not for just this week, but the next 3 after it. So a lot more of those discussions that become a little more realistic.
Do you have a plan then for this week and how much you play the starters and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have a plan. Yeah, we go through it all. They'll play. I mean, hopefully they're not playing much more than the first quarter. It depends on the plays, the amount of plays they have. We got a certain limit we want to give for each guy. Some different than others, but always the first game we don't keep them out there too long.
Alvin, when you look at that roster, what was the decision? 2-part question to release Zuta, and then did the team at all reach out to Tremaine Brock to see if was there any interest on the 49ers' part to bring him back?
Yeah, no one's reached out to Tremaine, so no on that. And, with Zuta, that was a tough decision. That was something we were really looking at last night. I think a lot of that, first of all, I can say I think it says a lot about how Kilgore's been playing. He's done a real good job in practice with that center spot, really kind of grasping that with the ones. And then just going through our whole plan for the preseason, how we're going to play these guys, and the guys we really needed to look at, just looked to us that we were going to give Zuta a lot of playing time throughout the preseason. And, he's a guy I have a lot of respect for. He's done a lot of good things in this league. And, I just told him this morning, I had a hard time doing that to him. We wanted to give him a chance to go somewhere else instead of keeping him here and making him go through that. So we told him this morning, and, I'd love to keep everybody, especially a guy who I think can still play in this league. But we thought it was better for him and better for us to move on.
I saw Kilgore yesterday get some snaps at guard. What's the thinking there?
Just trying to go through all possibilities. Knowing Garnett's going to be out a little bit, just seeing what can be our best 3 out there for week 1. And you want to try all possibilities. We know Kilgore's done a good job at center. We want to see him a little bit more at guard. But we've got to shuffle all that stuff because we're still a ways away too. So you got to be prepared for any other type of injuries, and you got to be prepared on game day. Depending on how many guys you dress, what are you going to do when you lose guys, and you have to move guys around. So that's something that we did yesterday and we'll continue to do throughout camp.
So also wait to see what Barnes can give you?
Yes, definitely. Barnes, we brought him in here as a center, but he also has to play guard too. I think it's very hard to make a final roster when you have a bunch of center onlys, because then it's just a domino effect. You lose a guard, and then you got to change 2 positions. Now your center's got to go to guard, and the center only's got to come in. So you want to see these guys' versatility. It's not always exactly who's the best. It's how to fill out the best 53-man roster, and there's not always an obvious right answer. There's stuff that you got to fight through, and you got to pair guys together, and you got to think about injuries a ton, and that's why there's a lot of different stuff you got to try.
Do you guys have an update on Garnett's injury and a time frame?
Yeah, he's going to get his knee cleaned out tomorrow. Time frame, I haven't been given one yet. I know I'm hoping that he has a chance for week 1, but I know that's going to be a battle.
Will Beathard be your second quarterback replaced in the game?
We're going to play both of them. I plan on Barkley coming out first. Barkley's going to replace Hoyer when Hoyer's done, and then we'll see how that goes in the second game.
Coach, one more about Beathard. I know you have experience coaching young guys who run. Beathard, more of a pocket-style guy. Has there been a benefit to that in his development since he ran that pro-style kind of pocket offense at Iowa coming here?
Yeah, I think it's easier for, it's all about reps. And if you've had reps throughout college, similar to the stuff that you're doing in the NFL, it's going to be much easier for you. If you've never taken a snap under center, it's not that hard, but if you've never done it, it is hard, especially in the heat of battle. So anyone who's doing similar stuff in college that they are in the NFL, I think for obvious reasons, it's going to be an advantage for any of those guys.
You started a drill because you seemed displeased by the pace at which the players were practicing. Was that an issue all day?
Yeah, today was our first day going on cards. Today was the first day that we wanted to give them some looks of Kansas City stuff. So that was our first time doing that as a group, and I just didn't like the tempo of it. And I kind of expected it, for our first day in cards together. It's our first time really not competing, running our own schemes versus each other. And I just felt as soon as we did it, I just felt the intensity of practice go way down. Tried to get it up, but it didn't change after 5 plays, so we just started it over and let them know what we want. And I told them today, I think that starts with the coaches. Obviously, I didn't explain it to them well enough. And we'll get that done, us, and expect them to do a lot better next time.
Feel the intensity picked up after you restarted it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think guys went a lot harder. This cards, you're moving guys in and out, so sometimes you don't have the 11 guys on the field, and that breaks up the rhythm of practice. Everyone wants to freak out, so you try to keep your composure and stuff. But I wasn't happy with the carded periods, and I expect it to be totally different next week.
Was that always the plan to go non-padded today, or did you change based on how things?
No, that had nothing to do with it. We play a game in 2 days, so I've had a plan for a while not to go pads 2 days before a game, and tomorrow will be hats only.
When you say cards, you're reading off cards that you're prepared?
Yeah, when you're trying to go against another scheme, our offense is going against Kansas City's defense. They don't run the exact same stuff as us, so we can't put it in our terminology. So the coaches draw it up on a card, we hold the card up, the players need to copy the card, and it is kind of human nature for those guys to lose their edge a little bit. So you just got to let them know the standard and the expectations, and that even though you're running a card, we expect it to be just as hard as when you're running our own stuff, because we need that look. You need to help prepare your teammate in front of you, and I'll be very surprised if it's not what we want next week.
What has impressed you about Matt Breida so far?
About who?
Matt Breida.
I think he's just going for it. You got a guy who comes in who's undrafted. He's got a chip on his shoulder, which you love. He's trying to prove himself every single day. It doesn't matter whether it's a run play, a pass play, whether he's in protection. The guy loves competing. He's a talented guy on top of it. And he's a guy who's, you definitely can tell you he's giving it his all.
How much, if any, game plan do you do for preseason games?
Not much at all. To be honest with you, it's miserable for a coach. You never want to go out and look bad and get embarrassed, but I also am very well aware that any play that works in the preseason will not work in the regular season, and so you don't want to waste anything either. So there's a fine line between that you can feel good going 4-0 in the preseason, but I've done that before and lost the first game, and no one cares what the preseason record was. So but we want to do good too, as everyone does. So it's that inner turmoil that you're constantly battling as a coach. Try to be simple, try to be vanilla, and try to win the game. So it's.
As you get ready for your first preseason game with John Lynch, I spoke to Mr. Lynch yesterday. He said you guys meet every day. Can you give me a little insight, if you wouldn't mind? Do you meet in the mornings, the afternoons? Do you just go over the roster, how practices went? What are the discussions?
It's pretty random. We're pretty close. He's right above me, so we don't have a designated time. Usually after team meetings, I get a little bit of free time in my office, so I'll come down and we'll talk about whatever. Sometimes he'll come down and ask me questions about practice. Usually after walkthrough at night. After dinner and stuff, when some of the coaches are in meetings with rookies, that's when I have some time where I'm by myself, and he can come down, we can talk about roster stuff, or watch some of practice together.
What percentage of your week-to-week game plans do you use the same plays, like plays that will carry over all 16 games, and are those basically the plays you work on in the preseason?
Yeah, you have to have a foundation of what you do, and that stuff's going to be up every week, and I think that's the case for everyone. You can't reinvent the wheel every week, or it might sound good on paper, but you won't be good at it. You got to put the hours in, and you got to put the reps in, which is impossible in a 3-day practice week. We have stuff that carries over week to week. I'd say only 10% of the game plan's new. But it might look different. There might be a different person doing it. It might be a different formation on how to do it. It might look the same, but there's one route that changes that you try to set them up for something. But you can't just make stuff up every week, no matter how good it sounds. Your guys got to execute it, and that's tough enough even when you have the right look. We try to build a foundation, stick with it, and we try to do that throughout training camp, and we'll have the adjustments as the year goes.
Last one, guys. Do you expect that George Kittle?
I'd be surprised. You know, he came back out. We thought he was good. His ham tightened up a little bit on him yesterday in practice. That's why we held him out today. And I'd be surprised if he played.
Well, I don't expect that Beathard's arm has really gotten stronger during camp, but he seems to have more zip on his passes. If I'm, possibly right about that. I mean, could that be a reflection of him just getting more comfortable and confident and just stepping into his throws because he knows what he's doing?
Yeah, I'm not. I feel like his arm's been the same, but if it's looking that way to you, maybe he had more room in the pocket. Maybe he could step into one and really show it. Guys. I think all of our quarterbacks have the arm strength to make every throw. Sometimes you take a second hitch when the ball's supposed to be one hitch, and now Marquise Goodwin's 80 yards away instead of 50 yards away, and now it looks like you don't have arm strength, and it looks like a punt return down there. It's all about timing and stuff, and sometimes when quarterbacks throw it late, it can look way underthrown, but I believe CJ has a strong arm, and he's capable of making every throw we need him to do.
All right, thanks, Kyle.
All right, guys.
Thanks.